Thank you, everyone. Right, I'm going to introduce you to JJ and Mark from Devilfish. They have a interesting gaming platform. It's a good job that Alan's no longer here because it does involve a little bit of Web3. But we'll see how it goes. I'll introduce you both now. JJ, Mark.
Hi everyone, I'm JJ. I'm CEO of Devilfish. We're a Web3 social poker platform. Here today with Mark.
Hello everyone, my name's Mark McGuinness. I'm a former biologist, so I will make sure I don't use the word ecosystem in the wrong context. Also, I'm a big Star Trek fan and I want to go to Venus. But my capacity is helping Devilfish from a marketing perspective. My background is 20 plus years in the real money gambling industry, and I've worked with a number of private and public companies throughout the globe.
Yeah, that's what I'm pressing. There you go. So that's us. So our goal is to change poker from gambling to gaming, make it fully free to play and get rid of all the nasty side of gambling. It's obviously a massive problem that people lose loads of money when they gamble, so that's our goal, to make it social, fun, free to play, so people can enjoy games without losing any money.
So something that was quite common over the presentations over the last couple of days was the aspect of sharing the vision from the founder and also community. So one of the best things that we've done at Devilfish is this gentleman behind us is a gentleman called Dave Devilfish Elliott. Sadly, he's no longer with us, but every brand needs to have a very good story. So Dave's story was he was born in Hull in the northeast of England. He came through a bit of adversity and he found fame as one of the early poker star superstars. So he won the World Series of Poker way back at the beginning of the decade. So we've got a very good story arc, and Dave was probably one of the first influencers before the word influencer became so commonplace. Everybody you meet now is an influencer, even though they might only have a following of 1,000. But Dave believed in changing the face of poker, making it more accessible, making it more fun, making it more entertaining. And it's not just a game, it's actually a life experience, a life choice.
So this is our team. So myself, I'm CEO. I've been in Web3 for about 3 years, so I've really got to know the industry. It's quite a new industry, so it's quite easy to master it in about 3 years. You really get a feel with what's going on in the space. So Jeff Williams, that's my dad. He's a serial entrepreneur. He technically owns the company, so we've fully funded and bootstrapped it ourselves and grown it to where we are now. Simon Easter, he's a platform architect and software engineer. He's ex-William Hill, ex-Mansion House Poker. So he's a really qualified poker architect. He's a great software engineer. He's leading our full poker platform development. So we've obviously with Mark, Nicholas is ex-Disney, Quentin's our community manager, Nick's our legal man, and Vlad sorts all our blockchain, tech, our AI, all that sort of stuff he takes care of. So a decent team, really. I'm about to put on a clip. It's a gameplay trailer. We're obviously an entertainment company, so one of our main things to grow is to entertain our players, keep them happy. So we do videos like this all the time. So that's just a gameplay trailer. It gives you a feel for some of our upcoming launches. So I'll talk about the free NFTs in a bit. But here are some household names. This is our competition, really. And I'm sure all of you are familiar with all of these companies. They're huge, billion-dollar companies. But the main thing about these, we position them on this chart, on a chart of next-gen market expansion and community ownership and loyalty, because all these companies are so outdated. some of them make loads of money, but the way they operate, they're all fighting for the same market share. So you can see I've put them all over here, and Devilfish is in the top because the way we operate, this is why we're in the Web3 space. So we focus on community, ownership, and loyalty. So we've got a community of 10,000 members. We built it up. We take the approach that our players like to talk to each other and spend time together. Kind of like Didar talks about community. It applies in the same way for us. Like players that just lose money on a site, you don't get the best customer retention. But if they're coming in, speaking to each other every day, playing on our site, in our server, we get about 20,000 messages a month. So it's a really good way of getting customer loyalty. And obviously next year market expansion. So we've deliberately positioned ourselves in this Web3 market because these guys, like I said, fight for the same market share, where there's this new space that we operate in where we get all our players from, which they haven't cracked how to get their players. So we'll talk a bit in this upcoming slides about how our cost per acquisition of players is so much lower because it's a fresh space, because there's so many users in there. And it's the place to be for us if we want to grow, really. So we think position ourselves in that market is very attractive for these guys. They'll see what we're doing and think, well, how have we built up a player base here? So yeah, really big companies. I'm sure you're familiar with loads of them, and we're the small guy really in this new space trying to grow.
So as JJ says, we are actually reimagining poker. The traditional incumbent pokers are not innovating in the space. They just see players more as a financial number and profit extraction. They don't want to engage them. They don't want to do any value creation with them. So in terms of our positioning, the regulatory overhead, we position ourselves as free to play. So what does that mean? Well, we don't actually undertake real money gambling. Because of that, we don't need licenses in the US or the UK or any other jurisdiction. So effectively, our market is global. So we're free to play. So that's one of the major advantages over traditional poker. Expensive customer acquisition. As I've just mentioned, the likes of PokerStars and the incumbent operators in the marketplace, as I say, just treat their players as profit extraction. What does that mean? Basically, they want to turn them upside down and empty them of every dime they've got in their pocket. So what does that mean in simple terms? Well, their business model is really they want to have whales or professional players, and whales or sharks need, I was going to say ecosystem again, but but they need water, yes. But they need players, they need newbies in terms of the business model. So the likes of PokerStars and incumbent operators are always having to go back into the ocean, back into the sea, and replenish the fish to feed the whales at the top of the pyramid. What does that mean in simple terms? It means that acquisition costs are about $600. They're actually probably going north of $1,000, and the actual lifetime value and revenues are diminishing. They're in free flow. Unexpired game mechanics, well, that's a simple one. We believe in community. We believe in shared play. It's less about the transaction. It's more about the experience. We're in the experience economy. And as JJ mentioned, we're in the entertainment space. That's what Generation Z wants now, and that's what a lot of even traditional poker players want. They want an experience. They want to be able to communicate. They want to be part of the whole process. Everybody wants to have that sense of belonging. In terms of retention losses, as I've just mentioned there, the traditional models are all predicated in, let's just buy some more players, bring them in. They're prey to the people at the top of the pyramid in terms of the whales and the sharks. So the retention losses are very, very, in fact, woeful. Their customer service is woeful. So with our model, because we are community-based, we value players. We want to speak to them. JJ mentioned, even on our Discord channel, the amount of frequency of messages that we get is considerable. It's not community management. They're actually wanting to share partly about the game, but partly about their lifestyle. On the traditional platforms, they do not engage at all. And then losses. This is a very interesting one, very controversial within the regulated gambling space. You may or may not be aware that society has a particularly dim view about gambling and gambling addiction, and it is a problem. I'm not going to deny that. But in poker, because of their model, 80% of the player base actually lose money. In our model, they don't lose money because there's no buy-ins, there's no deposit, it's free to play. Our monetization, we will explain a bit later on, is very important, of course, because as a business we need to make money. But in terms of the losses, and obviously the actual retention. How do the poker companies get players back? They incentivize them with bonuses. So they get into this trap, which could then lead to addictive forms of behavior. And that is a real problem. And that's a problem across all the industry. It's not just poker, it's online casino, and it's online sports betting. So the model needs to change.
So that's what we're trying to do. So with us, there's no financial risk. In traditional poker, 8% of players lose their money, but with us, we take 0 buy-ins, 0 wagering, so there's no losses. So the way we operate, each one of our players that comes onto our site, they can play for free or they can buy one of our premium NFTs. We use NFT technology it's not about the word NFT, it's because of the blockchain. It allows players to buy an NFT, own it, and if they ever get bored of playing with us, they can sell it. So it's kind of like a pass, but because we use Ethereum, which Adam probably wouldn't be very happy about, but because we use it, there's so many marketplaces out there that you can sell it. It's really good distribution, so it works really well for us, and there's loads of users on it. So the way we're going to monetize it, so we currently sell ETH NFTs, but players will be able to upgrade that NFT with like enhancements, like the Fortnite model really, which I'm about to talk about, but they'll be able to customize it, change the way it looks, which will cost money. Key points, players can join all games for free. So like we said, it's free games. So you can imagine it's easy to grow a player base when you're offering free tournaments. And that's one of the main goals for us is customer acquisition. And then in the future, players will be able to unlock in-game benefits. So that's another way of monetizing them. Like most video games do, they incentivize you to get better in-game performance enhancements. So we're really trying to gamify poker, which is what we're trying to make clear.
Yeah, so as JJ mentioned, I mean, our unique selling points as a brand, as a destination, as I actually see Devilfish more as a community-based social movement. If you can convince players to join you as a movement and they're passionate and have shared beliefs, it gives you a lot of USPs. So the free-to-play games is a means to onboard and activate players very quickly. The traditional model, there's a lot of compliance, KYC, before you can actually make your deposit, before you can actually play. That's a big friction point. We've removed that because it's simply register and play. So that's a key ownership USP for us. The digital ownership, in terms of NFT, that's maybe a bit of a misnomer. We actually just see that as a mechanism to profile our players, gain some insight, customer behavior, transactional behavior. So it's just a means to actually get some data, get some transactional information, and then obviously upsell and monetize them. So it's a digital wallet or a digital pass or a digital subscription is more the vernacular I would use. JJ's absolutely right, because we've got that, then we can actually use in-game microtransactions. If you know anything about the video gaming market, that market sector is absolutely huge. You've got brands owned by Epic Games like Fortnite who are making millions of dollars a day on microtransactions, and that's small ticket items, maybe $1, $2, buying cosmetic items, knives, guns, etc., to improve their gaming experience. So microtransactions is really important for us. Gamification actually flows into that. So as the player comes into the system, they can learn, they become more confident, and they progress up the leaderboards. And obviously the blockchain integration, I know Alan's not here, but we take a different view on that. We believe Web3 is a label, but the technology behind it, the smart technology is really good. Not particularly blockchain, but some of the wallets and the transactional information and the areas that allow you to onboard, activate, and improve the player experience is really important.
So monetization strategy, how do we make money? So like I've talked about, I'm sure there's plenty of you in the crowd who your children have spent money on video games, on Fortnite, on Roblox, wherever it may be. So that is exactly the model we're going for. So we're trying to build up a large player base of free players, and we make money off them because when they're on a site, we've got their attention, they're playing with us, we've got thousands of players. A percentage of them want to spend money. That's just like human psychology. If you get people in the right place, they're going to spend money with you. So inspired by games like Fortnite, Roblox, League of Legends, Clash of Clans, the list goes on. There's tens of them worth billions of dollars. They make money through selling skins, chests, experiences, coins, packs, whatever it may be. So what we're doing, we're selling skins, chests will come later, but to start with, players will be able to customize their avatar, change their appearance, make it look cool, and we'll tie in-game benefits into those spending. So one of these will cost 10 to 20 bucks. If they buy one of them, we'll give them in-game benefits like boosted XP or higher level tournaments, stuff like that. So we pair customization with in-game benefits, really incentivizing players to spend a bit of money with us and change their digital appearance. Some of you, it might be an alien concept, but to gamers, it's a massive thing, changing your identity online. So other ones, our main one is skins, especially as we grow the player base, but other ones are merchandising, so it's common in the Web3 space. When you build up a community, they want, particularly if they like the brand, they want to customize, they want to buy decks of cards off us, felts, t-shirts, jackets. There's a project called Pudgy Penguins, which I'm not sure you probably won't know, but they've made millions of dollars building up a community, and they actually got their toys listed in Walmart. So I'm not saying we go for that exact model, but as you get a large group of players together with similar interests, it's easy to monetize them in different ways. So, and sponsorships and advertising. So we already get 750 to 1,000 players in our games sometimes now. So especially as we scale up and get more people on our site, you can imagine if you've got, with poker, a game lasts 1 to 3 hours. If you've got thousands of people on your site, all their attention for 2 to 3 hours, it's a massive opportunity to generate revenue through selling sponsorship and advertising. So that's another one. And then the final one is secondary market revenue. So because every skin someone buys off us is technically an NFT, that's just the back-end technology we use. It actually means that if someone buys it off the secondary marketplace, like OpenSea, like Magic Eden, there's loads of them out there with loads of users. We keep 5% every time. So you can imagine as you scale up the volume, then it's a nice revenue stream. It's passive for us. So Traction, our players, so we have 28,000 X followers and Discord members across both, so that's 18K on X and 10,500 on Discord now, so that's our foundation, our community really. We've got 5,000 players, so 5,000 active players in our club, and the key thing here is 0% of those who lost anything, so I'm sure none of you can think of another site where players can win a bit of money and lose absolutely nothing when playing poker. So that's one of our biggest things really, because we use the NFTs, because the free games are separate to how we monetize it. Players don't stake, they don't lose, so they never go, they don't become addicted, there's none of the negative sides of poker. So it's a very disruptive idea if we can scale it up, because you can imagine these big companies that I talked about earlier, they want their players to lose all their money. That is how their business revolves. So for us, that's our biggest thing. 0% have lost anything, and 84% of our paid players have won money with us. So some of that's only $25, some of it is thousands of dollars. But like you can imagine, if 84% have won money, they all own an NFT that they can sell on the secondary market if they ever get bored. And none of them have lost. That soon makes a big difference. Like, why would you want to play with any of the traditional sites where you're losing your money when you can play with us? So yeah, we think that's a very important slide for us.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting slide as well. Just we are getting traction, so the business model has gone beyond the sort of MVP. So we're actually proving it works. So in terms of revenue, we generated 100,000 sales. That's attributed to the NFT, the back-end passes or the digital passes. 1 million hands dealt, which is quite significant for a business such as us. NFTs in circulation, 527, 110 sold in the secondary market. So even the NFT as a mechanism for ownership in terms of being part of the company and part of Devilfish, there isn't much in the resale market, so people are sticking with it. One of the key metrics there on the left-hand side is the $20 cost per acquisition. As I mentioned earlier, traditionally poker stars would spend anything to acquire a new player between sort of $600 and $1,200, and that's going up. And actually, even last year, you can see they're suffering in terms of the EBITDA because they've actually put their rake freeze up from 3% to 5%. So their model is in structural decline. Obviously, I'm not going to slag them off too much because they are still very cash generative as a business, but they're not innovating. So we've got, we think, quite a unique proposition, low cost to acquire a customer, and then on the lifetime value, we've got lots of ways we can actually monetize them through microtransactions and the sale of digital assets.
So future-ready platforms. So we've partnered with a big company, which we're about to talk about afterwards, for our poker software, but pretty much all our technical documentation is ready. We put in all the hard yards already. We're fully prepared for global expansion. We are already global. We're just trying to scale it up to the next level. We've obviously got 5,000 players. We'll talk about the figures we're trying to hit afterwards, but all the IP and digital artwork owned, so all these traits and stuff like Fortnite design, loads of different ideas where like different traits, different seasons, stuff like that. So we've got thousands of those generated, ready to go out to the audience. But yeah, pretty much we're ready to go globally.
Yeah, so this slide is right. How do we actually acquire, players going forward? So our model is slightly different, as I mentioned, to PokerStars or any other gambling company. It's community first. So if you build up a great rapport for the community, they will effectively do the marketing for you. So in terms of our direct acquisition costs, we don't want to, rent the media. We want to earn loyalty first, and the community will actually do our marketing. And we're already seeing that in terms of how we've actually organically grown the business over the last 8 months. So our CPA costs are low. Yes, we will have to spend money. That will be on the tournament prizes and maybe, getting the blue tick in X and a few other things. But generally, our CPA costs will be small, and our marketing will be more based around the top of the pyramid there in terms of collaborations and partnering with other communities. I mean, thus far, we've done collaborations with about 500 communities, and it's very, very small money you actually have to put up. Sometimes you don't have to put any money up. It's just an exchange of maybe digital collections. It's all about the community. So the community are really important. Take care of them. They'll take care of the revenue flows coming forward.
So yeah, at the bottom here are some universities I partner with. So I've been to Surrey, Belfast, Leicester, Brighton, Edinburgh, Uni of Leeds. I go there, speak to them all, put on an in-person tournament and an online game for them, and we give them all a deck of cards. So we build relationships with all those unis. It's really simple model, really. They're young, they're our target audience. We've gone out there, got a name out there, and obviously now we've got that relationship with them. In the future, if we want to go back and do another partnership, it's really easy to set up, and obviously every year they've got fresh players coming in. So they're very valuable players. They're from England, they're young, they're going to be playing poker for years. Like, it's really building value. We're looking to scale that up, so I'm continuously partnering with more unis, and yeah, ideally I'll begin to do that in different countries as well. So next phase, new partners. So Immutable, this is technically a different blockchain, but they're more of a games platform. So pretty much our Ethereum collection, we're moving over to this, it's called a layer 2 blockchain, but I won't bother you with the details. But so we're moving on to that. Users on Immutable is 100,000 daily users, so they get loads of traction. They do joint marketing with their partners, so we'll be on there. We'll get loads of their users coming on, joining us, and players will be able to buy NFTs off Immutable now. So it's like a provider, but so the key things about Immutable is perfect for onboarding users. So I assume most of you don't know how to use crypto maybe, but with Immutable you can create a wallet with an email and a code in like 2 seconds, and you can deposit funds directly with Apple Pay. So we're really bringing the barrier to entry down so we can grow the business way easier. Like, wallets for people can be a nightmare. So this is a really good way of doing it. And one of the biggest things, so talking about Web3, why we're in this space, the key thing about Web3 is because every one of our users has a wallet, on the blockchain you can see absolutely everything. So you know how, with Immutable, we know exactly how much they spend, what they hold, what interest they have, so other projects they buy into, like how long they have their wallet connected to our site for, stuff like that. So we get really detailed data into what our players do, their interests, and obviously these guys, they're speculative investors. They like poker and they like gambling. And we'll talk about the value of players afterwards. But you're building up an audience of the data in a completely different space that all these big operators don't currently operate in. We're getting all this knowledge, all this value, and all this data on these players. You can soon see where we're creating the value. And so, Mars.
Yeah, just to echo JJ's point there, it's really important that we all understand the importance of the digital wallet. If I was operating, which I've done in the real money gambling space, I can only see transactional information from that customer, either due to data protection or GDPR, or Visa or MasterCard will not share me any data of what they're actually doing with their purchase behavior once they've left their platform. So the fact that we've got information that is on the blockchain is immensely powerful, because marketing is all about data and understanding behavioral data. So that's something we can unlock. Even Bet Gaming, just want to mention them. They're our strategic partner in terms of software. They've been in the business for 20 years, so they're a poker software platform provider. Why have they partnered with us? Because fundamentally they see their own business model starting to be in structural decline. They need to do something different. So they're a very strong fan and proponent of us in terms of what we're doing as free to play and using Web3 in terms of enabling technology and creating a very large community.
So industry facts. So they're massive industries. Poker market size and growth, 86.2 billion in 2022, expected to grow to 237.5 billion. Market size and growth of the blockchain gaming market, 128.6 billion in 2022, expected to grow to 614.91 billion by 2030. So these are huge figures. You can imagine if we're in the center of this, we've established ourselves. As the industry grows, there's only more money coming in, more users coming in. And we're in the perfect position to monetize them and grow, really. And obviously, 100 million poker players worldwide. So a lot of them actually in the US, but they're all over. We have a lot of players from the US, but it's a massive market. For us to build the value that we want to build, we only have to go after a very, very small percentage of that. And yeah, it's their huge figures, massive figures. So.
Yeah, and we've got the cross-section between, say, video gaming, the likes of multiplayer games such as Fortnite, Clash of Clans. So the audience is actually bigger than what we presented there, but we also believe in being realistic. So we've got the traditional, if you like, poker play market, and we're in the sort of Venn diagram, that intersection between traditional poker, crypto games, casual gaming, mobile gaming, multiplayer gaming. So there's a large audience that we can actually go after.
So year-on-year projections. So currently we're at 5,000 players. Post-funding, year 1 we want to be at 15,000, year 2 30,000, year 3 60,000, and year 4 100,000 players. So we picked targets that we think are realistic based on the current players we've built, bootstrapping it and funding it fully ourselves. So we've got to 5,000 ourselves. We think with a bit of growth capital, I mean, I personally want to hit way bigger targets than this, but I think that these are realistic. Based on our cost per acquisition of players, based on what we're seeing, and we've done no paid marketing as such currently, so it's all really organic growth and working with other communities. But the real value here, so we're talking about how we're making money and stuff. The real value is, as Mark said, we spoke to a guy from PokerStars, he's a close associate of ours, and he said that about 2 or 3 years ago, PokerStars were willing to pay £600 per player. So because of the way the industry works, it's not a nice industry, but obviously if you acquire one user, you know that they're probably going to play on your poker site, but they may also play on slots or whatever it may be. So this is one of the highest valuation of players. I've looked through lots of different industries. Around £600 per player is obviously a lot of money. You build up a database of 100,000 players, you're very quickly building a lot of value. And to go with that, we're obviously in this fresh space that they don't really know how to target at the moment, what we're specialists in. We've got detailed data in every single one of those players. We know they play poker. We know what they like, what they spend money on, how much time they spend on our site. So you can imagine where the value is coming from, like for these big companies, seeing what we're doing and thinking, well, how have we managed to crack it for so cheap? They'll think how. So that's the goals. We think they're realistic. And if we get there, I think there'll be a lot of value created. We're raising funds to revolutionize Web3 poker and poker in general. It's outdated. It needs changing. And we think we've got the right mix. Gaming makes sense. Free games, everyone loves. It's really easy to grow. We've got really loyal customers. And so we're asking for $1 million for 20%, and we think that will help take us to the next level and grow to that global business we want to be, and hopefully one day become a market leader. So thank you very much. And yeah.
Thank you.